So if you are amongst the group of people who thought that all the reports behind Terrifier 3 and the reports of people walking out and passing out, if you thought all that was a crock of shit, I am here to proudly tell you firsthand, this is not a marketing ploy, people. With my own eyes, I witnessed 5 people walking out of the Terrifier 3 screening that I went to on Friday. Needless to say, this film will absolutely test your tolerance and your limits in terms of how much gore you can truly handle. What is going on, my horror fans and friends? It is your boy Woodsboro Fanatic, and we are back with day 27 of my horror movie challenge, watching and reviewing a film I have never seen before. Now, before I jump into this review, I just want to take the time to acknowledge how fucking special and cool and unprecedented this truly is, because as of today, Terrifier 3 is the #1 box office film in all of America. As a massive fan and supporter of this franchise since the very beginning, and a massive supporter and fan of director Damien Leone, I have to say I am so proud of him and everyone who had a hand in making these films come to life and become as successful as they are. As you guys know, I'm a huge advocate for independent horror, and to see the trajectory of this franchise just grow to new heights and now hitting #1 in the box office is fucking incredible. This was a franchise that started with essentially nothing in terms of its budget, and again, Terrifier 3 is only working with $2 million, but they're beating out films like Joker 2 and The Wild Robot. Truly insane. This crew of talent is absolutely deserving of all the success they've received upon this release, and truthfully, I think this will change the landscape for not only independent horror, but horror in general. This movie was fucking phenomenal. There's so many things to love about it, and truthfully, there's only 2 to 3 negatives I have throughout the whole film, but this one makes a strong case for being the best in the franchise. And for some, even if it's not the best, it is certainly a worthy installment. I knew I was in for a treat, but man, once I watched that cold open, I knew that this was going to be a massive hit. And in regards to the opening, everyone's wondering, is that first 10 minutes really as brutal as people are making it out to be? And what I'll say is this: they go for it. They absolutely go for it. I think I may be sick because my eyes were subjected to some of the most vile and wicked, disturbing things I've ever seen put to film. Yet I already cannot wait to go check this out again. And I know everybody's been talking about the gore. That's the main takeaway from these movies. That's what most people go to see them for. But within that gore, I want to take the time to acknowledge the artistry behind the special effects and the visual effects team, because Damien went out of his way to actually hire a crew this time to sort of take the load off of the effects that he was working on for Terrifier 1 and 2, and just allowing himself to be more of a director. And the team he hired just did a wonderful job. There's truly an artistry that goes into these kills and these sequences. It's not a quick 5-second kill and then it's over with. These are elaborate, planned out sequences that truly display the artistry at hand. It's incredible how real they make this shit look. Truly hats off to the whole team. I absolutely need to take the time to talk about these performances, because while I thought the whole cast did a great job, in particular, David Howard Thornton and Lauren Lavera are fucking forces to be reckoned with in terms of performances. David Howard Thornton is truly a one-of-a-kind talent. These films don't work without his performance, in my opinion. The way he is able to capture so much emotion and expression without saying a damn word is fucking brilliant. He is so charismatic, and he does it's something about his performance where you can witness the most brutal shit put to screen yet still have a good time, because David Howard Thornton is just doing his thing in this Art the Clown character. And for everybody out there hating, saying that Art hasn't cemented himself as a horror icon yet, go watch this fucking movie and tell me otherwise. If you watch this and you tell me he's not an icon yet, I genuinely have nothing to say to you. This is easily David's best performance as Art the Clown, and he has a perfect balance of being dark as hell while also just being so amusing. This is probably the hardest I've ever laughed in a Terrifier film, especially the sequence where he sees Santa fucking rolling in the theater. And Lauren Lavera as Sienna Shaw, my god, guys, what a performance. You know, Damien does a great job in the writing department with, you know, emphasizing the trauma and the PTSD that she's suffered after her encounter with Art the Clown and Terrifier 2. And Lauren Lavera just gives such a strong, convincing performance. You have no choice but to root for this girl. And that final act, she brings it. Like, in terms of a performance, you see every emotion on display, and it's fucking brilliant. This is not recency bias, but this damn sure is a hot take. Sienna Shaw is a top 3 final girl of all time. And for all the bullshit accusations of Damien Leone being a misogynist, guys, how can you be a misogynist yet create one of the most epic and polarizing final girls of all time? Make it make sense. And if you need me to prove my point even more, go check out the body count for Terrifier 3 and please tell me how he is misogynistic. But we won't harp on that one for too long. And I love the way Damien is continuing to build on this lore where, again, he hasn't given us all the answers, but he's given us enough to turn our heads and, you know, kind of think about where the direction of this next movie is going, because as we all know, Terrifier 4 has been confirmed, and I think he did a great job throughout this film at planting the seeds for what's to come in this final chapter. Damien excels at capturing the holiday themes throughout his films, and it's no different here because the Christmas theme is capitalized to a T. This is certainly one that's playing for me every year come Christmas time. And I love that within these 3 films, he's given them all their own sense of personality to where they stand out on their own while also being a cohesive franchise. I know everyone's been raving about the shower scene, and to be truthful, I kind of wish you guys wouldn't have mentioned that in your reviews, especially for people who haven't seen it yet. I feel like that is a sequence that people need to experience themselves and, you know, build excitement for not knowing what the big kill of the movie is going to be. But here's what I will say to anybody who hasn't seen the movie yet. Remain optimistic, because each one of these kills are fucking fantastic. Each one of them are on the level of the bedroom scene in terms of brutality. Maybe not effectiveness, but the brutality is absolutely there. And here's what I'll say. The shower scene, to me, honestly wasn't even the most brutal kill. There is a certain kill that happens towards the end to kick off the final act. Some of the most disturbing shit I've ever seen in my life. When I seen that, I was like, yeah, that's the scene right there. Now, this movie isn't perfect. Like I said, I do have a couple negatives. One of the negatives being the handling of a certain character, one that is certainly pivotal to the story. I felt like it was a character that was misused, but I'm still optimistic. I'm hoping that it's leading to something bigger for this next installment. My only other negative is that it feels like we don't flow into the third act cohesively. Kind of feels like a dream sequence. It feels abrupt. It feels like maybe time was cut or scenes were cut. I do know that Damien hinted at a possible director's cut with some of the missing footage, so I'm definitely curious in checking that out and seeing the differences. Aside from that, this film is outstanding and it absolutely deserves number 1. While some of you may not like these films, you cannot deny its success, and the success has come with good reason. Again, it's just incredible what these people have been able to create, and I genuinely cannot wait to see the trajectory of their careers, in particular Damien Leone, Lauren Lavera, and David Howard Thornton. Guys, if you aren't into independent horror already, now's the time to absolutely get into it. It's time to start supporting smaller filmmakers so that we can get box office success stories like this one. Mainstream films and mainstream horror is something that is always going to be around, but it's the independent films and independent horror that are truly going to move the needle and change the landscape for the genre that we all know and love.